Looking at number 8, it wants you to find the vertical asymptotes, horizontal asymptotes, holes, and domain. I like to start by making a list of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for holes, vertical asymptotes, horizontal asymptotes, and the domain, and then I'm going to graph it. Remember, the first thing you do for any problems is factor the top. This is difference of squares and becomes x minus 3 and x plus 3. So if you notice there's an x minus 3 in the top and the bottom that would cancel, this creates a hole. Your hole is going to be at x equals 3. You took your x minus 3, you set it equal to 0, you added your 3, and that's where your x equal 3 came from. So it's like they cancel and it's gone away. There's nothing else in the bottom, so there is no vertical asymptote. For your horizontal asymptote, you go back and look at your degree, which is the exponent. We have a 2 in the top and a 1 in the bottom. So if your numerator is larger, there is not one. Or if there's a big in the top, then you stop. However you want to remember it. There is no horizontal asymptote. To get your domain, you will look at your holes and your vertical asymptotes. We have a hole at x equal 3, so my domain is x is not equal to 3. So then when we graph it, there are no vertical or horizontal asymptotes to draw. We need to remember that there is a hole at x equal 3, but we can't really do anything yet. So we go to y equal and we put the original problem in. Go to your table and go find your error. And you want to plot a couple of points before the error and a couple after. So 1, 4 is a good point. Also 2, 5. Then on the other side, we've got 4, 7 and 5, 8. Remember we said there is a hole at x equal 3, so right here you have a hole, so you draw an open circle. And then you draw a line connecting your dots, and this is your graph. Looking at number 9, we're going to start by finding the factors of 2 times 12, which is 24, 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. Signs are different, and the largest one is negative. And they need to equal negative 5, so we're going to use 3 and negative 8. You can't actually use them yet. You've got to write it all and split it in half. So you have 2x squared plus 3x minus 8x minus 12. Cut it in half. You're going to pull an x out, and it leaves you 2x plus 3 minus, they have a 4 in common, and it leaves you 2x plus 3. So the bottom is x minus 4 and 2x plus 3. I'm sorry, that's actually on the top. So the top is x minus 4 and 2x plus 3. And then the bottom, you're going to factor x squared minus 16, and this gives you x plus 4 and x minus 4. So list what all we're going to find. We're going to find holes. We're going to find vertical asymptotes, we're going to find horizontal asymptotes, and we're going to find the domain. The x minus 4 cancels, and so I have a hole at x is equal to 4. X plus 4 is still in the bottom, so I have a vertical asymptote at x is equal to negative 4. Come back up here and look, and the degree is the same, and so I do have a horizontal asymptote, and you take your coefficients and reduce. 2 over 1 is 2. For the domain, you use your hole and your vertical asymptote. So x is not equal to 4, and x is not equal to negative 4. So at this point, I would sketch just a dashed line for my vertical asymptote and horizontal asymptote. So go to negative 4, and you have your vertical one, and go to y equal 2, and you have your horizontal one. So then, to draw your line, you're going to go put this problem in at y equal. And so you're going to say open 2x squared minus 5x minus 12. Close divided by open x squared minus 16. And you're going to go second graph, and it pulls up a table. Go look for your errors. We know they should be at 4 and negative 4. So a couple of points before negative 4 would be like negative 5, 7. And negative 6, 4.5. And then I'm going to have some points after the error at -3, -3, at 0.75. And then there should be another error at 4, and there is. Okay? Keep in mind that that error at 4 is a hole. So when I get over here to where x is 4, there's an open circle. You can tell based on your asymptotes and your points how your line's going to curve. This is going to curve like this. This is going to curve like this. Try to hit your points better, and then make sure you have the hole, the open circle there. And that's your graph. Looking at number 10, 11, and 12, we're building. They're going to give us the information, and we create it. If you have a vertical asymptote at x equal -2, that means you're going to have an x plus 2 at the bottom. If you have a hole at x equal 3, that means you're going to have an x minus 3 on the top and the bottom. So when you multiply this, you get x squared minus 3x plus 2x minus 6. So on the bottom, you have x squared minus x minus 6. They didn't tell me anything about a horizontal asymptote, which means there's none, which means the numerator has to be larger. If I have an x to the second in the bottom, I've got to have x to the third or higher in the top. I only have an x at this point, so I'm going to multiply it by x squared. And this gives me x to the third minus 3x squared. And there's your rational. So the next one tells me that I have a horizontal asymptote at y equal 3. This means that the degree is the same, and the coefficients are going to reduce to 3. We'll deal with that later. I have a hole at x equal -2, so that means I have x plus 2 on the top and the bottom. That's all I have to do, except I got to fix my horizontal asymptote. They are already the same degree. They're both x to the first, but I need that 3 on the top. So it becomes 3x plus 6 all over x plus 2. Last one, you have a vertical asymptote at x equal 2, so that means an x minus 2 in the bottom. You have a vertical asymptote at x equal -4, which means an x plus 4 in the bottom. You have a horizontal asymptote at y equals 0. This means your denominator has to be the larger degree. So if I multiply these two together, I end up with x squared plus 2x minus 8. Whatever you put in the top has to have a smaller degree than 2. So it could be x, or it could not have an x. You could just put a 1. And so this would be your answer. That's all of your review. Look over it. Make sure you know how to factor. Make sure you know how to find asymptotes. If you have any questions, come find me.